Welcome to the Bangor Trail. Today we're going to take you on a journey along the historical Bangor Trail. It's going to take us from Bangor all the way to Newport. Along the way we'll be stopping off at some points of interest and talking about the rich history of the area. So let's get started.
Well, the first what we call the annual walk, we started on the Bangor Trail in 1987, and this came about as a result of chats inside in a pub in Newport, in Frankie Chambers pub, and the outcome was that they said if you would organise it, that they would walk it, meaning if I would organise it, they would walk it. So on the 15th of August in 1987, the first of 13 annual walks took place.
In Thompson Moor then there's ruins of the old houses, so I think there's one or two of them being done up at the moment now. I haven't seen them, but I knew one of them was Barrett's and the other one was Conway's. I remember having tea in Conway's house. They were just across the river in Clonmondra from me. They used to be up there on the turn, some of the lads heard in stock, and you'd always have the tea when you'd be passing in. It was the same way in the Towson houses, Sweeney's and McHugh's and John McManaman's, Frankie Leonard's now. You'd never pass without to be out to call you and have the tea and whatever was going. And coming from the hill like that, you'd definitely be hungry. I used anyway. And I just loved to see the fresh smoke because I knew the kitchen was going on for the tea getting ready. So great memories of lying there and meeting lovely people. House, the man Neil Inhun that lived up there, his house is still there at the walls of it anyway. There was a hut dropped into it there years back, and it's a place I suppose where people stays if it gets too late on them when they're passing through. It's a long way from there to Bangor or to Thompson, and he went up as a herald there to tan a ship.
This area here in Scotland is full of mythology from ancient Ireland. The waterfalls behind us, we're told, is a 10th place where the goddesses and the fairies from the underworld are free to cross over from time to time. While behind us here to the right is Kersleeve, the largest mountain in the Nephin Beg range, and on top of it, on its summit, there's a huge cairn of rocks. It's said to be what's left over from once mighty fort that belonged to a giant called Dahiban. The Owen Duff Atlantic Blanket Bog here behind us is one of the largest intact Atlantic blanket bog systems left in Western Europe. This is a very important habitat for so many bird species, including the red-head grouse, golden plover and white-fronted geese that migrate here over the winter. The bog pools too are very important habitats for smooth newts, dragonfly nymphs, great diving beetles and so much more.
As I can remember, back in the end of '97, Joe McDermott approached me about setting up a local committee to create a series of loop walks on the Western Way and the Bangor Trail down at Inchiqueen. So we employed a group of 5 local people to develop the trails themselves. By the end of 1998, the bothy and the loop walks were all complete and they were launched on a rainy day by Anne-Marie Reep, who was the Cairn of Mayo County Council at the time.
Along the Bangor Trail, the myths and legends of old Ireland come alive. From Jimmer and Grania, the Queen Maeve and the cattle raids of Mayo, and here, this place, called Cronishee, the Tree of the Fairies. It was said once that the locals took some stones from around the ring fort and brought back to the village. That night, all the animals were troubled, all the women uneasy, and not a wink of sleep was got by any men. The women had counsel the very next day, and after they'd ordered the men to return whatever they took from the fort. The men did this, and when they did, peace once again fell on the village. Our final stop along the trail takes us here to the site of the old Nephin Beg School. From this site, so much of our history reveals itself to us. From across the waters on Bangor Mountain, we've discovered human remains dating back to 6,000 years ago. While below us, stretched out into the lake, is Lobby Diarmid and Grania's bed. It's said that they stayed here while Fianna and the Fianna followed them across the country. Just beyond the waters of Lough Fianna takes you to Rockfleet Castle, where Grania Whale was said to live out her final years, and Burrishoole Abbey is just beyond Furness itself. There are so many mass rocks from the penal times from around the area. We have Oatley, just to the west side of Bangor, while on Lechamahere there was another mass rock, and of course on Shamor and Turkey Mountain there is another mass rock. The sites of the famine are all around us here. The walls that stripe the mountain and the lazy beds that still scar the landscape remind us of those dark times where in this village alone, Nephin Beg lost 2/3 of their population between 1841 and 1851. Also, this area was a safe area for the West Mayo Flying Column during the War of Independence, and in this exact spot during the Civil War, a bloody battle was fought out. And after covering a distance of 40 kilometres through wilderness and mountain terrain, we land back here in Newport town and to the end of the trail. We hope you enjoyed joining us today, and we look forward to meeting you someday on the trail itself. And until then, bye for now.
And people were finding out and were beginning to find their own way and do the Bangor Trail with their own little groups. In fact, Mary McAleese at one stage, President McAleese walked the trail. So there were all kinds of people going out. And you know, we couldn't be there holding people's hands forever, or neither could Oliver or Jimmy or all those other guys who were with us, or the Donlans or other people. It passed out of our hands and became something for everybody. And that's what we wanted. That was a success in that sense, you know, that people kept up walking the trail.